On the cold morning after a freezing night, I woke up frozen to my bones on a cardboard box on the street. One of those mornings when people ignored me and passed by. I reached into my pocket and found it. After examining it for a while, I realized this photograph was of my dead father. My father had died when I was 10 years old, or so I thought. That morning, I found his photograph in my jacket pocket, and on the back was an address written in handwriting I didn't recognize. Someone had put it there while I slept in the cold. But who? And whose address was on the back? Who was waiting for me at that address? Now I'm gonna tell you everything that happened that day. Stay with me.
My name is David Cole. I'm 32 years old. For the past 5 years, I've been living on the streets of downtown Chicago. No home, no job, no family. My mother died when I was 15 from cancer. My father, William Cole, supposedly died when I was 10 in a car accident. That's what my mother told me. That's what I believed for 22 years. I dropped out of high school at 16, started working odd jobs, trying to survive. By the time I was 27, I lost everything. My apartment, my job, my dignity. The streets became my home. Cardboard boxes became my bed. Strangers became my only company. Every morning was the same. Wake up cold, hungry, invisible. People walked past me like I was a ghost. Some threw coins, most didn't. I survived on scraps from trash cans and occasional charity from the homeless shelter on Fifth Avenue. But that morning was different. I pulled the photo from my pocket with shaking hands. The edges were worn, yellowed with age. My father looked young, maybe 30. He was smiling at the camera, wearing a suit I'd never seen before. Behind him was a house, white with blue shutters. I didn't recognize it. I flipped it over. The address was written in blue ink, careful and deliberate. 2847 Maple Ridge Drive, Evanston, just outside Chicago. Maybe a 40-minute bus ride if I could afford the fare. My heart pounded. Who put this in my pocket? Why now, after all these years? Was this some cruel joke? I looked around the alley where I'd slept. Empty beer cans, broken glass, graffiti on the walls. No one was there. No footprints in the thin layer of snow except mine. Someone had approached me in the night, slipped this photo into my coat, and vanished without waking me. The thought sent chills down my spine that had nothing to do with the cold. I stood up slowly. My legs ached, my back screamed in protest. 5 years on the streets had aged me beyond my years. I probably looked 50. I had two choices: throw the photo away and forget about it, or find that address and discover the truth. But I didn't know that this decision would change everything I thought I knew about my life. I folded the photo carefully and put it back in my pocket. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. The shelter was 6 blocks away. They served breakfast until 9. I had 20 minutes. I started walking, each step a small victory against the cold. The morning rush had begun. Suits and briefcases, coffee cups and cell phones. Everyone had somewhere to be, someone waiting for them. I had no one. Or so I thought. At the shelter, I stood in line with 30 other men. Some I recognized, most I didn't. Homelessness had a high turnover rate. People came and went, died, or disappeared. Sister Margaret was working the breakfast line. She was 70, kind, never asked questions. She ladled oatmeal into my bowl and handed me a piece of bread. "You look troubled today, David," she said softly. I hesitated. "Sister, do you believe in second chances?" She smiled. "I believe God works in mysterious ways." I sat at a long table and ate slowly. The oatmeal was warm, thick, tasteless, but it was food. I chewed the bread mechanically, my mind racing. After breakfast, I approached Sister Margaret again. "I need to get to Evanston. Do you have a bus pass I could borrow?" She studied my face. "Evanston? That's quite a journey." "I know. It's important." She disappeared into the back office and returned with a transit card. "Bring it back when you can." Thank you, sister. Be careful out there, David. Whatever you're looking for, make sure you're ready to find it. Her words stayed with me as I walked to the bus stop. The number 42 bus came at 10:15. I climbed aboard, found a seat in the back, and watched the city pass by through dirty windows. Little did I know that the person waiting at that address would reveal secrets my mother took to her grave. The bus ride took 45 minutes. I got off at Maple Ridge Drive and stood on the sidewalk, looking at the street sign. This was a nice neighborhood. Big houses with manicured lawns, expensive cars in driveways, children's toys scattered on porches. I felt out of place in my torn jacket and dirty jeans. A woman walking her dog crossed the street when she saw me. I didn't blame her. I walked slowly, checking house numbers. 2,823, 2,831, 2,839. Getting closer. My heart beat faster with each step. Then I saw it. 2847 Maple Ridge Drive, the house from the photograph. It was exactly the same. White with blue shutters, a wide front porch, flower boxes under the windows. But now it looked older, paint peeling in places, the lawn overgrown. I stood at the end of the driveway, frozen. What was I doing here? This could be anyone's house. The photo could be fake. This could be dangerous. But something pulled me forward. Call it intuition, call it desperation, call it fate. I walked up the driveway. The porch steps creaked under my weight. I raised my hand to knock, then noticed the doorbell. I pressed it. Somewhere inside, chimes rang. I waited. Silence. I pressed again. Still nothing. Maybe no one lived here anymore. Maybe I was too late. I was about to leave when I heard footsteps. Slow, shuffling footsteps. A lock turned. The door opened 6 inches, held by a chain. An old woman's face appeared in the gap. She was maybe 75, white hair pulled back in a bun, glasses perched on her nose. She looked at me with suspicion. "Can I help you?" Her voice was thin, careful. I pulled out the photo. "I'm looking for information about this man, William Cole. This is his address." Her face went pale. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Do you know him?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just stared at me, tears filling her eyes. "You look just like him," she said finally. "Who are you?" "My name is Ruth Morrison. I was your father's nurse." She unhooked the chain and opened the door fully. "Please come inside. We need to talk." I stepped into the house. It smelled like medicine and old books. The living room was neat but worn, furniture from decades ago, photographs covering every surface. Ruth gestured to the sofa. "Sit down, please." I sat. She sat across from me in an armchair, studying my face like she was seeing a ghost. "How did you get that photograph?" she asked. "I woke up this morning and found it in my pocket. Someone put it there while I was sleeping." She nodded slowly. "That would be Marcus, your father's lawyer. He's been looking for you for months." My throat tightened. "My father's alive?" "No," she said softly. "I'm so sorry. William died 3 weeks ago." The room tilted. 3 weeks. I'd missed him by 3 weeks. But he was alive? All these years? "Yes, he never died in that car accident. That was a lie your mother told you." I felt anger rising. Why would she lie? Ruth stood and walked to a cabinet. She pulled out a thick folder and handed it to me. "Your father wanted you to have this. It explains everything." I opened the folder. Inside were letters, dozens of them, addressed to me, all unopened, all returned to sender. The earliest was dated 22 years ago, right after my supposed father's death. Maybe you've experienced moments when your entire past gets rewritten in seconds, when everything you believed turns into a carefully constructed lie. "Your mother left your father when you were 10, Ruth said quietly. "She told him she was taking you to visit her sister. She never came back. She changed her name, moved to a different state, told you your father was dead." "Why?" "She was sick, mentally ill, paranoid. She believed your father was dangerous, that he would hurt you. None of it was true, but she couldn't be reasoned with." I stared at the letters. 22 years of letters, birthday wishes, Christmas cards, desperate pleas to know I was safe. He looked for you, Ruth continued, hired investigators, filed missing person reports. But your mother was smart. She covered her tracks well. It wasn't until 6 months ago that Marcus finally found a trace of you. How? A homeless shelter registry. Your name, David Cole, in Chicago. Marcus came looking for you, but you'd already moved on to the streets. He's been searching ever since. I felt tears burning my eyes. My father spent 22 years looking for me. Every single day, it consumed him. When he got sick, terminal cancer, he made Marcus promise to keep searching. He wanted to see you one last time, to explain, to apologize for not finding you sooner. The weight of it crushed me. All those years sleeping in alleys, eating from trash cans, believing no one cared if I lived or died. And somewhere, my father was searching, desperate, dying. He left you everything, Ruth said. His estate, his savings, this house, it's all yours. But more than that, he left you the truth. He wanted you to know he never stopped loving you, never stopped trying to find you. I couldn't speak. I held the folder against my chest and sobbed, for the father I never knew, for the years we lost, for the lies that destroyed us both. Ruth came and sat beside me, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. He talked about you constantly, wondered what you looked like, what kind of man you'd become. He had so much he wanted to tell you. Where is he buried? Oak Hill Cemetery, Plot 247. I visit every week. I wiped my eyes. Can you take me there? Of course. What I didn't see coming was that my father's grave would hold one final secret, a message he left specifically for me. Ruth drove us in her old sedan. The cemetery was quiet, rows of headstones stretching into the distance. We walked through wet grass until we reached a simple gray marker. William Thomas Cole, beloved father, 1960 to 2025, forever searching, finally at peace. I knelt in the grass. The ground was cold, damp. I placed my hand on the stone. I'm sorry I didn't find you sooner, Dad, I whispered. I'm sorry for everything. Ruth handed me a small envelope. He asked me to give you this when you came. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a letter in shaky handwriting. My dearest David, if you're reading this, then I'm gone and Marcus found you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there when you read these words. I'm sorry for 22 years of absence, for birthdays missed, for moments lost. Your mother's illness took you from me, but I never blamed her. She was sick, scared, trying to protect you the only way she knew how. Please don't hate her. She loved you fiercely, even if her mind betrayed her. I want you to know that every day without you was agony. Every Christmas, every Father's Day, every moment I wondered if you were safe, if you were happy, if you even remembered me. I built a life, yes, but it was hollow without you in it. Now I'm leaving you everything I have, not because I think money can replace time, but because I want you to have the security I couldn't give you. Build a life, David. Find happiness. Find love. Don't let our lost years define you. I'll be watching from wherever I am, proud of the man you've become, grateful that Marcus kept his promise. You were my son. You are my legacy. You are worth every second of searching. I love you. I always did. Dad. Everything was about to change, but not in the way I expected. Tears blurred the words. I read the letter 3 times, memorizing every line. This was all I had left of him. These words, this grave, these lost years. There's more, Ruth said gently. Marcus is waiting at the lawyer's office. He has documents for you to sign, property deeds, bank accounts. Your father was a successful architect. He built homes for wealthy clients, saved most of what he earned. The estate is worth approximately $3 million. $3 million. The number meant nothing to me. I would have traded it all for one conversation with my father, one meal together, one chance to say I'm sorry. There's something else, Ruth continued. Your father started a foundation 5 years ago, the Cole Foundation for Missing Children. He helped families search for their lost kids, funded investigations, provided resources. He wanted other families to be reunited, even if he couldn't be. I looked at her. He did that? Every year, the foundation reunites 50 to 60 families, children lost to custody disputes, runaways, abductions. Your father poured his heart into it. He said if he couldn't find his own son, at least he could help others find theirs. The weight of it overwhelmed me. My father had turned his pain into purpose, his loss into healing for others. Marcus wants to discuss the foundation with you, Ruth said. Your father hoped you might continue his work if you're willing. I stood slowly, my legs unsteady. I looked at the gravestone, at the dates that bookended a life spent searching. I need time, I said. This is too much. Of course. Marcus understands. He said to come when you're ready. She handed me a business card. His office is downtown. Call first. We drove back in silence. Ruth dropped me at the bus stop and handed me another envelope. What's this? $500. Enough for a hotel room, some clean clothes, a few good meals. Your father would want you taken care of. I tried to hand it back. I can't. You can and you will. Don't insult his memory by refusing his care. I took the money. It felt heavy, important. Thank you, Ruth, for everything, for taking care of him. She smiled sadly. He was a good man. You come from good people, David. Don't forget that. The bus came. I climbed aboard and watched her wave goodbye through the window. As the bus pulled away, I felt something shift inside me. The weight of years, of lies, of loss, but also something else, purpose, direction, a future that might actually mean something. If you've ever felt like you're facing situations too big to handle alone, you know that strange mix of terror and hope. That's where I was. I got off downtown and walked until I found a small hotel. The clerk looked at me suspiciously until I showed him cash. He took my money and handed me a key to room 304. The room was small but clean. A bed, a bathroom, a window overlooking the street. I stood under the shower for 30 minutes, watching years of street grime wash down the drain. I scrubbed my skin until it hurt, washing away the shame, the dirt, the invisible stain of homelessness. I put on my dirty clothes again. Tomorrow I'd buy new ones. Tonight, I just needed to think. I sat on the bed and spread out the folder Ruth had given me. 22 years of letters. I started reading them in order, from oldest to newest. The first letter was dated 2 weeks after my mother took me. My father's handwriting was neat, controlled, hopeful. He believed we'd be home soon. He talked about fixing up my room, planning a camping trip, teaching me to ride a bike. By the 10th letter, hope was fading. He wrote about the investigators, the dead ends, the frustration. He begged my mother to contact him, to let him know I was safe. By the 20th letter, desperation. He wrote about nightmares, about waking up calling my name, about the empty chair at the dinner table. By the 50th letter, resignation. He accepted he might never see me again, but he kept writing, kept hoping. Every birthday, every Christmas, every milestone. First day of school, high school graduation, college years he imagined I was having. He wrote to a ghost, to a memory, to a son who might never read these words. And now I was reading them, crying over pages yellowed with time, words written to a child who grew up alone. The last letter was dated 1 week before he died. His handwriting was shaky, barely legible. He wrote about the pain, about the cancer eating him from inside. But mostly he wrote about regret. Not regret for searching, but regret that he failed. I'm sorry I couldn't find you, David. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. I'm sorry for every moment we lost. Please forgive me. Please know that you were loved. You are loved, always. I folded the letter carefully and added it to the pile. Then I lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow I would call Marcus. Tomorrow I would start figuring out this new life. But tonight, I just needed to grieve for the father I never knew, for the years we lost, for the lies that destroyed us both. Sleep came slowly. When it did, I dreamed of a young man in a suit, smiling at a camera, waiting for a son who would take 22 years to come home. I woke the next morning to sunlight streaming through the window. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then, reality crashed back. The hotel room, the letters, my father's grave. I got dressed and counted the money Ruth had given me. $460 left after the hotel, enough for a few days, maybe a week if I was careful. I called Marcus from the phone in the lobby. His secretary answered, professional and brisk. Marcus Webb's office? My name is David Cole. I need to speak with Mr. Webb. Silence. Then, please hold. 30 seconds later, a man's voice came through, deep, warm, slightly breathless. David? Is it really you? Yes. Thank God, I've been searching for months. Where are you? I gave him the hotel address. He said he'd be there in 20 minutes. He arrived in 15. I watched from the lobby window as a black Mercedes pulled up. A man in his 60s stepped out, tall, gray hair, expensive suit. He looked like success, like someone who solved problems for a living. He came through the door and stopped when he saw me. His eyes filled with tears. You look just like him, he said, just like William at your age. We shook hands. His grip was firm, steady. Let's talk somewhere private, he said. We went to a coffee shop 2 blocks away. Marcus ordered 2 coffees and a plate of pastries. I realized I hadn't eaten since yesterday's oatmeal. Eat, he said, pushing the plate toward me. You look like you haven't had a decent meal in years. I ate slowly, trying not to seem desperate. The pastries were sweet, buttery, perfect. Marcus pulled out a leather briefcase and set it on the table. I have a lot to tell you. Some of it will be difficult to hear. Ruth told me about the estate, about the foundation. Good, that saves time. He opened the briefcase and pulled out documents. Your father's estate is valued at $3.2 million. The house in Evanston, retirement accounts, life insurance, stocks. It's all yours. The number still meant nothing. I nodded. But there are conditions, Marcus continued. Your father wanted to make sure you were taken care of, but also that his work continued. The foundation? Yes. The Cole Foundation currently has an endowment of $1.5 million. It operates independently, with a board of directors and full-time staff. Your father served as chairman until he got sick. Marcus slid a document across the table. He wanted you to take his place. As chairman, you'd oversee operations, approve funding requests, represent the foundation publicly. The board would help you, guide you. You wouldn't be alone. I stared at the document. Chairman. Me. A homeless man who couldn't keep a job at McDonald's. I don't know anything about running a foundation. Neither did your father when he started. He learned. So can you. Why would he trust me with this? He didn't even know me. Marcus leaned forward. Because you're his son. Because he believed that loss creates compassion, that suffering teaches empathy. You know what it's like to be lost, David. That makes you perfect for this work. But what I didn't know was that accepting this role would lead me to discover my mother's final secret. I signed the papers. Marcus walked me through each one, explaining terms I didn't understand. Beneficiary, executor, fiduciary duty. The words washed over me like a foreign language. When it was done, Marcus handed me a checkbook and a credit card. The estate account. You have full access. Use it wisely. I held the card like it might explode. I don't know how to use this wisely. I don't know how to use this at all. Start small. Get an apartment, buy clothes, eat regular meals. Give yourself time to adjust. He paused. Your father also left you something else. A letter he wrote 6 months ago before he got too sick to hold a pen. He handed me an envelope, thicker than the others. I opened it carefully. David, if you're reading this, Marcus found you. I wish I could be there to see your face, to hear your voice, to know you're safe. I spent 22 years imagining this moment. Now I'm gone, and all I can leave you are words. I need to tell you about your mother, not to justify what she did, but to help you understand. She wasn't always sick. When I met her, she was brilliant, funny, full of life. We were happy for years. Then you were born, and something changed. Postpartum depression, the doctor said. It would pass. But it didn't. It got worse. She became paranoid, convinced I was trying to hurt you. She saw threats everywhere. Medications helped sometimes, but she'd stop taking them. She'd have good months, then terrible months. I tried to help her. Therapy, doctors, support groups. Nothing worked. The day she left, she was having an episode. She truly believed she was saving you from me. I could have called the police, could have fought for custody, but I was afraid of traumatizing you, afraid of making her worse. So I let her go, thinking she'd come back when she calmed down. She never did. I failed you both. I failed to protect you, failed to save her. That guilt consumed me for years. The foundation was my penance, my way of turning failure into something useful. I hope you can forgive her, David. She loved you fiercely. Her mind betrayed her, but her heart was true. And I hope you can forgive me for not finding you sooner. You deserved better. You deserved a father who fought harder. All my love, Dad. I folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. My hands were shaking. He never told me that, I said quietly, about my mother being sick. He blamed himself. He thought if he'd been stronger, smarter, he could have prevented everything. I thought about my mother, the woman who raised me alone, who worked 3 jobs, who died exhausted and afraid. I'd thought she was just difficult, just angry. I never knew she was fighting her own mind. She died when I was 15, I said. Cancer. She never mentioned my father once, never told me the truth. She probably believed she was protecting you until the end. We sat in silence. The coffee shop hummed around us, people laughing, talking, living normal lives. What do I do now? I asked. Whatever you want. You're a wealthy man, David. You have options. Options? I'd never had options before. I want to see the foundation, see what my father built. Marcus smiled. I hoped you'd say that. Those who experience such moments of transformation never forget them. That day marked the line between my old life and everything that came after. The foundation occupied a small building in downtown Chicago. 3 stories, brick, with a sign that read, Cole Foundation for Missing Children in gold letters. Marcus used his key to let us in. The lobby was simple but professional. Photographs of reunited families covered the walls, children hugging parents, tears of joy, second chances. Your father hung every one of these himself, Marcus said. These are the victories, the families we helped find each other. I walked slowly, reading the captions. Jamie, age 8, missing 2 years. Reunited with father. Sarah, age 14, missing 6 months, found safe. Michael, age 6, custody dispute. Return to mother. Dozens of faces, dozens of happy endings. How many of you helped? 347 children in 5 years. Your father was obsessed with the numbers. Every child mattered. We climbed stairs to the 2nd floor. Offices, cubicles, phones ringing. A young woman looked up from her desk. Marcus, we didn't expect you today. Jennifer, this is David Cole, William's son. Her face went pale. Oh my God, we've been hoping, but we didn't know if... She stood and came around the desk. I'm so sorry about your father. He was an amazing man. Thank you. Everyone, Jennifer called out. This is David Cole. 5 people emerged from offices. They gathered around, shaking my hand, expressing condolences, sharing memories of my father. He was kind. He was dedicated. He cared about every case like it was his own child missing. I felt overwhelmed. These people loved my father. They respected him. They'd worked beside him for years while I slept in alleys, unaware he existed. Marcus led me to a corner office. William Cole, chairman, was written on the door. This was his space. We haven't changed anything. I stepped inside. The office was neat, organized, a large desk, filing cabinets, more photographs on the walls. But one wall was different. It was covered with pictures of me. My school photos from age 6 to 10, the ones my mother had in our apartment. How did he get copies? Private investigator found your old school, Marcus explained. Your father paid for copies of every photo they had. I stepped closer. My gap-toothed second-grade smile, my serious fourth-grade stare, my last photo before my mother took me away, age 10, wearing a blue shirt. Below the photos was a calendar. My father had marked my birthday every year for 22 years, written notes on each one. David turns 11 today. I hope he's happy. David turns 18 today. He's a man now. David turns 30 today. Please let him be safe. I couldn't breathe. This wall was a shrine to a son he'd lost, a child who grew up without him. He came here every day, Marcus said softly. Even when he got sick, even when he could barely walk, he'd sit at that desk and look at these photos and refuse to give up. Little did I know that this office would become my sanctuary, the place where I'd finally understand what it meant to belong. I spent the rest of the day at the foundation. Jennifer showed me files, explained their process. When someone reported a missing child, they opened a case. They worked with private investigators, coordinated with police, searched databases, followed leads. We don't always succeed, Jennifer said. Some children are never found, but we never stop looking. How do you handle the failures? We remember the successes, 347 reasons to keep going. By evening, my head was spinning. I thanked everyone and left with Marcus. What now? He asked. I need to think. This is too much too fast. Take your time. The foundation runs smoothly without a chairman for now. When you're ready, they'll be here. He drove me back to the hotel. I sat in my room and stared at the checkbook and credit card, pieces of plastic that represented a life I didn't know how to live. I thought about my father sitting in that office, staring at my photos, refusing to give up. I thought about my mother, sick and scared, believing she was protecting me. I thought about 22 years of lies and loss and loneliness, and I thought about 347 children who found their way home because my father turned his pain into purpose. Maybe you've faced moments when you realize your pain can become someone else's healing. That's what I understood that night. The next morning, I went shopping. Real clothes for the first time in 5 years, jeans that fit, shirts without holes, a warm jacket, new shoes. The salesman didn't ask questions when I paid with the credit card. I rented an apartment, 1 bedroom, furnished, in a safe neighborhood. The landlord ran a credit check and looked surprised when it came back clear. My father had maintained my credit somehow, kept my social security number active, taking care of me even when he couldn't find me. I bought groceries, filled the refrigerator with real food, cooked my first meal in years, scrambled eggs and toast. It tasted like victory. Over the next 2 weeks, I built a routine. Wake up, shower, dress in clean clothes, go to the foundation, sit in my father's office, learn the work, come home, cook dinner, read his letters. Slowly, I stopped feeling like a fraud, stopped expecting someone to tell me I didn't belong. Jennifer taught me the database system. Marcus walked me through finances. The board met and welcomed me officially as chairman. I gave a short speech, thanked them for their patience, promised to honor my father's vision. After the meeting, an older woman approached me. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. I worked with your father from the beginning. Thank you for everything you did for him. He talked about you constantly. Near the end, when the pain was bad, he'd say your name. He died believing Marcus would find you. Marcus did. And now you're here, continuing his work. That would have made him so happy. Everything was finally coming together, but I was about to discover that my father's greatest gift wasn't money or a foundation. 3 months later, I was reviewing case files when Jennifer knocked on my office door. "David, there's someone here to see you. She says it's personal." "Who?" She wouldn't give her name, just said she knew your mother. I felt my heart stop. I followed Jennifer to the lobby. A woman stood by the photographs. She was maybe 60, gray hair, tired eyes. She turned when she heard me approach. "David Cole?" "Yes." "My name is Linda Morrison. I was your mother's sister." "My aunt." I had an aunt. "Please sit down," I managed to say. We sat on the lobby couch. She clutched a worn purse in her lap. "I saw your name in the newspaper," she said. "An article about the foundation, about you taking over. I couldn't believe it. After all these years." "You knew my mother was sick?" "I knew. I tried to help her. She wouldn't let me. After she took you and disappeared, I searched for years. Then I stopped. I thought you were both dead." "She died 10 years ago. Cancer." Linda's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry. She was my baby sister. I loved her, even when she pushed everyone away." "Why are you here?" She opened her purse and pulled out a small box. "Your mother gave this to me when you were born. She made me promise to give it to you if anything happened to her. I kept it all these years, hoping I'd find you." She handed me the box. Inside was a letter and a photograph. The photo showed my mother and father on their wedding day. Young, happy, in love. Before the sickness, before the paranoia, before everything fell apart. I opened the letter, my mother's handwriting, shaky but clear. "My darling David, if you're reading this, I'm gone and I hope you can forgive me. I know what I did was wrong. I know I hurt you and your father. But my mind was broken and I couldn't see past my fear. Your father is a good man, the best man I ever knew. I loved him desperately, even when my illness made me believe terrible things about him. I hope he found you. I hope you know him. I hope you understand that everything I did because I loved you, even if I did it wrong. Find your father, David. Let him tell you the truth. Don't waste years hating me or him. Just live. Just be happy. That's all I ever wanted for you. Your loving mother." Tears streamed down my face. My mother had known. Somewhere in her broken mind, she'd known what she was doing was wrong, and she'd tried to fix it the only way she could. "She wrote that letter 2 days after you were born," Linda said. In a moment of clarity, she knew her mind was failing, knew she might do something terrible. She wanted you to have the truth. I held the letter against my chest. "Thank you for keeping it. Thank you for finding me." "Your father would be proud of you. What you're doing here, helping families, that's beautiful." We talked for an hour. Linda told me stories about my mother before she got sick. A brilliant teacher, a passionate reader, a woman who loved deeply and hurt profoundly. When she left, I sat in my father's office and looked at the photo of their wedding day. 2 people in love, destroyed by an illness neither could control. And I understood finally that there were no villains in my story. Just broken people trying their best, failing, hurting each other without meaning to. This story reminds us that forgiveness isn't about forgetting the pain, but about understanding that sometimes love and illness and loss create tragedies no one intended. I've been chairman of the Cole Foundation for 6 months now. We've reunited 42 families, 42 children who found their way home. I visit my father's grave every Sunday. I bring flowers, read him the success stories, tell him about the families we've helped. I like to think he hears me somehow. I framed my mother's letter and hung it beside my father's wedding photo. 2 people who loved me, who failed me, who tried their best with broken minds and broken hearts. I'm not homeless anymore. I have a home, a job, a purpose. I have my father's legacy and my mother's forgiveness. I have 389 reasons to get up every morning. The photo that started this journey sits on my desk. My father, young and smiling, waiting for a son who took 22 years to come home. I'm home now, Dad. I'm finally home. What lesson did you gain from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.